I would say for math, I usually have one or two for individual math lessons, but there are times that I do group projects because that group dynamic is also important for discussion in math, and so they can learn from each other. Like recently we designed houses using area formulas. They had done a huge study on the different formulas of area and how to actually calculate the area of a square and how to calculate the area of a circle. So when they did their house project, they were able to, because all of them were doing it at the same time, they were able to use each other as guides to help design their houses. And so they were able to prove to me that they knew the area of a square and they knew the area of a rectangle, and they could draw the diameter of a pool when they were putting their house project together. So we do use group projects as well because they need to be able to have that as a 21st century skill to be able to work with others and to have discussion skills and public speaking about their different projects.
And the kids do public speaking in the classroom, just in their little groups.
Certainly. In language, I would say that my lessons in grammar, parts of speech, that kind of thing, are typically 1 to 2 as well. But I also use group lessons, grade level group lessons for writing, as well as some word study things. So it's a balance. They get some of both.
Obviously, individual lessons are not efficient from a teacher's standpoint. But in terms of learning readiness of each child, those individual lessons, you're able to time things based on the learner as opposed to based on the teacher.
And I would say that was essential philosophy. You know, that's essential to the Montessori philosophy, is that they're working at their own pace, and Montessori's always said, follow the child. So even during a work plan cycle, you know, we might adapt the work plan to match that child. If we're finding that they're not able to do the cards that we've asked them to do or do the work that we're asking them to do, say they're trying to add and subtract fractions, but they're getting stuck in the reducing step, we need to take them back a little bit and go back over how to reduce fractions again. The vice versa of that is if during that work plan and we've assigned that they add and subtract fractions and they do one card and they get it perfectly fine, there's no sense in repeating things over and over again. So we might adjust the work plan to be a little more challenging for that child. So a work plan is a guide. It's not always set in stone. Even in cultural lessons, sometimes I find that I need to adjust it to follow the group, what they're interested in. You know, when they were really interested in magnets, we adjusted our work plan to do an inquiry on magnets for a day.
I especially find the individual lessons helpful in grammar at the 4th and 5th grade level as they're making that bridge from concrete to abstract. I have some very concrete assignments at my disposal, and I have some more abstract ones. And so even though they may be a 4th grader and they may be studying descriptive and quantitative adjectives, I can get a sense of if they're really able to identify those adjectives in sentences, or we need to break it down and look at just phrases and have them more concrete where they have them written on cards, and so it's more isolated and they're not distracted by other sentences or other words in a sentence and so forth. So I really find the individual lesson valuable for that reason, because I can measure their understanding and see the appropriate follow-up work and make sure it's appropriate.
So if a parent had a child that was a very fast learner, or if a parent had a child that was a very slow learner, this individualized speed really does help that parent.
Yes, certainly. And again, we try to individualize as much as we can. Even when we're doing group lessons, we're a big thing at Dyer School, and not just in the Montessori, but is inquiry learning. And so even if we are, might be in reading, a group of kids might be reading one book for their literature circle, they're able to go out and research the questions that they may get from that book. For example, right now we're doing historical fiction, and a lot of my students are reading about different conflicts in history, and so they have a lot of questions about, why did this happen? What kind of weapons were used? Or, why didn't they agree on this particular subject? And so we do kind of individual projects based off of that group project or group assignment.